Our top focus story in this bulletin. The India-China bilateral meet is Modi's true test of tactical diplomacy. On one hand, the Chinese president was accorded the Guard of Honor at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on day 2 of what has been a very public engagement. All right, on one hand, clearly bonhomie, and on the other, reports of over 1,000 Chinese border regiment troops marching 5 kilometers into Indian territory in Chumar area of Ladakh. In the latest on this developing confrontation, Indian troops have pushed back Chinese troops by 2 kilometers, and even as we speak, the two sides are in clear line of sight of each other. It is quite literally an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation that is still on.
मैंने सीमा पर जो घटनाएं हुई हैं उस पर चिंता प्रकट की है और कहा है कि इन्हें सुलझाना आवश्यक है। हम इस बात पर सहमत हैं कि सीमा क्षेत्र में शांति और स्थिरता हमारे आपसी विश्वास और संबंधों की नींव है। यह दो देशों की एक महत्वपूर्ण सहमति है और इसका दृढ़ता से पालन किया जाना चाहिए। हमें बाउंड्री क्वेश्चन को जल्दी हल करना चाहिए।
双方同意继续尊重和照顾彼此关切，以积极态度妥善处理两国间存在的问题。中印边界问题是历史遗留问题，多年来双方通过友好协商稳步推进边界谈判，取得了积极进展。中印边境地区保持了和平与稳定。由于边境尚未划定，有时可能会出现涉边事件，但双方完全可以通过现有多层次的涉边机制，及时加以有效管控，防止对双边关系形成大的干扰。中方有决心同印方通过友好协商早日解决边界问题，也有诚意在此之前共同维护好边境地区的和平与安宁。
Well, significant economic strides have been made in the delegation-level talks, the stage for which was set by the report established earlier in the day and in Ahmedabad on Wednesday. In the joint statement made by the two leaders after the agreements were signed, Prime Minister Modi said China had promised to invest $5 billion in India over the next 5 years. Apart from that, an industrial park that will power generate units will be set up in Gujarat, and an industrial park for automotive parts will be set up in Maharashtra. The two leaders also stressed on the need for increased social, economic and cultural exchanges.
हम दोनों का विचार है कि हमारे आर्थिक संबंध क्षमता से बहुत कम है। मैंने उनसे इसकी चिंता प्रकट की कि हमारे ट्रेड की गति कम हुई है और ट्रेड इम्बैलेंस भी बढ़ा है। मैंने उनसे अनुरोध किया है कि हमारी कंपनियों को चाइना में मार्केट एक्सेस और इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज और आसान कराएं। मुझे प्रेसिडेंट शी जिनपिंग ने आश्वस्त किया है कि इस विषय पर ठोस कदम उठाएंगे।
刚才我同莫迪总理举行了富有成果的会谈，一道见证签署了两国一系列的合作协议。我们就中印关系的各个方面，特别是如何丰富合作内涵、提升合作水平，以及共同关心的国际和地区问题，深入交换了意见，达成了广泛共识。我和莫迪总理一致认为，中印是世界多极化进程中两支重要力量，都是发展中大国和新兴市场国家，都处于民族复兴的伟大进程中，中印发展目标一致。
I'd like to cut across at this point of time. Anand Krishnan is live with me from Beijing. He's our China correspondent of India today. Anand, the question I want to ask you is, there's been wall-to-wall paper coverage of this 3-day visit right here in India. How is this visit being viewed in China?
Yeah, I think given the fact that China's media is a little more controlled and you have 4 or 5 big state-run media outlets, the coverage has been a little more restricted. Most of the coverage is focused on the business side of things, on the trade and investment deals, as well as the sort of relationship that's been developing between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping. There hasn't been much mention of the recent troubles along the line of actual control. So the focus has very much been on the positive aspects of the visit so far.
You know, and that's what prompts me to my second question, Anand, because the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, made a speech today which is being viewed as one of the strongest messages that has been delivered to China, where he talks about the border dispute openly, that he's brought them up, and you know, that needs to be normalized for normal relations between the two countries. Has anything been made about that particular speech by the Indian Prime Minister? What kind of reactions are coming in there?
Yeah, actually, just a little while ago, the Chinese Foreign Office put out some comments about the recent spat that happened in Demchok. And what they said was interesting. I mean, they said that, yes, they acknowledged we did have an issue in the past few days, but they said, well, we communicated immediately with the Indian side over the incident at the border. And they said that, you know, we have the feeling that we managed it and controlled it effectively. So, but I think, I mean, beyond the sort of official words that they'll put out, I think there will be some sense of concern that it took so long for this spat to be diffused, especially when the Chinese president was visiting. And in that context, I think the Prime Minister's statement was interesting, that he said that we have to clarify the line of actual control as soon as possible. And I don't think that's been mentioned specifically in earlier joint statements, which had similar references to resolving the boundary dispute at an early date. But I think he stressed that before we do that, we have to immediately clarify where our perceptions of the line of actual control are, because that's at the heart of the recent incursions that have taken place.
Anant, nothing about the Prime Minister's speech today?
Well, I think it's a bit too early yet, because the way the Chinese media works is that, unlike our media, which is free, you can't immediately report on things up until you have the directives that have come from above. So I think in a few hours we'll see the official state-run news agency Xinhua put out their own sort of commentaries on this, and tomorrow the rest of the media will probably follow suit. So unlike our sort of vibrant media that we have, things usually take a little while here in China before you sort of see reactions come out.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Anand. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you for the very latest reactions there. Anand, still waiting how the Prime Minister, the Indian Prime Minister's speech is being perceived in China, and we'll keep cutting across to him for the latest updates from Beijing. With that, as about 1,000 PLA troops enter 5 kilometers into Indian territory in Ladakh, Headlines today does a reality check along the line of actual control. In this exclusive report filed by my colleague Ashraf Wani, people at the LAC confirm India's worst fears. They say their land is out of bounds for them.
अगस्त की बात नहीं है, पहले भी हुआ था, जब वाजपेयी गवर्नमेंट था उस वक्त भी हुआ था, जब यूपीए का फर्स्ट सेकंड में भी हुआ था, अभी भी मोदी साहब की सरकार में भी हो रहा है। ये हमारा हिंदुस्तान का कमजोरी है। हमने एक अच्छा, हमारे पास प्लान नहीं है, हमारा फौज का प्लान अच्छा नहीं है। हमारा फौज क्या कर सकता है? पहले तो उनका इक्विपमेंट चाहिए, उनके लिए रहने बैठने का एक बंदोबस्त चाहिए, और जितना भी फौज का कंसंट्रेट है वो सिटी में है, वहाँ तो इंकरेजमेंट होना ही होना है।
You just see, Pakistan has transferred the Aksai Chin to China without the consent and the approval of the government of India, government of Jammu and Kashmir. And the grabbing of land from either side is going on for the long time. So it will happen, it will remain like this, unless it is resolved at the diplomatic level, at the highest level.
देखिए, हमारा जो परंपरा, जो हम लोग जो हमारे जो परदादाओं का जो जमीन है वहाँ जाते हैं, इंडिया गवर्नमेंट जाने नहीं देते, बोलता है कि इंडिया के जगह भाई वो जो है चाइना के जगह पे तुम लोग पीछे हटो। तो इस वजह से जो इंडिया का जो चाहे आईटीबीपी हो, इंडियन आर्मी हो, अब मैं समझता हूँ कि चीन के सपोर्ट करते हैं भाई।
Here in the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir, the eastern Ladakh has become the flashpoint between China and India. Basically, here these are the mountains of the Daulat Beg Oldie area, where still the access from the Indian side is not so easy as it is for Chinese. Recently, we have seen the Chinese troops have made incursions into Indian territory. No doubt they have moved back, but so far this has raised many questions in the Indian establishment, particularly the people living here in this region of the state. Last year, in the same way, the Chinese made their stay in Indian territory for days, and now they are planning some big on the line of actual control, which is a new threat for the security of India. With cameraman Roof Ahmed Ashraf Wani for Headlines Today in Ladakh.